I felt lost and confused and just constantly frustrated to the point of having a lot of pain in my body. It was really nasty for a long time.
Yeah.
And so what
Yeah.
I discovered, Jennifer, which I think your listeners are going to love, is that we have a way now to set boundaries with people that actually doesn't take us out of being kind, generous people.
You're listening to the Happy Productive Podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Dawn, business coach and founder of Freedom Builders. If you're ready to slow it on down and stop grinding, do the inner work that makes outer success inevitable, and build a soul-aligned, not soul-sucking, business and life that feel amazing and overflow with ease and joy and happy productivity, you're in the right place. If you'd like to learn more, just hop on over to my website, jenniferdawncoaching.com. That's it. Let's get into today's episode. Hey, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of the Happy Productive Podcast. I am so excited, y'all. You guys, I'm just like, we're going to jump right in because Amy Armstrong is my guest today. Welcome, Amy, to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. You do a lot of
And
hard work here, and I appreciate it.
oh, thank you, thank you. And you guys, we
Yeah.
have a hot topic. And I think Amy and I are both just dying to get in there and get going. And we're going to be talking about conflict today. Now, everybody heard me right. I said
Yep.
conflict. Now, don't tune out. Okay, don't tune out because I know right now you got some conflict going on. And you're like, man, I do not like conflict. And I feel ya. I don't like conflict either. But Amy is going to be a breath of fresh air for all of us when it comes to dealing with conflict. She's a licensed social worker, a nationally recognized speaker, and she is the one to guide us through conflict in a whole new way. So, Amy, tell everybody just a little bit of your story and how in the world did you end up in a world where you get to talk about conflict as one of your favorite things?
It is. It's one of my favorite things because people are so surprised.
Yeah.
We are all conflict avoiders. Even people that get angry and jump right in, they're just trying to make the conflict go away.
I
So
know.
even, yeah, we all want power and control over
Yeah.
our lives, of course.
Yeah.
So if you're listening
Yeah.
out there and this is you, you are in the right place. I like to
Yeah.
talk about really what it means to resolve the conflict and not just walk away from it or even overpower it.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. I love it. And okay, but I have to hear the story. Like,
Yeah.
how did you
Oh,
come to be
yeah.
doing this kind of work? Like,
There is a story. You know, there's a
oh,
story. Yeah.
I can't wait. I want to hear
Right.
it.
So the conflict resolution part, I learned in the trenches of custody battles and divorce court, like literally a total nightmare for
Yeah,
people in conflict because it's just incredibly frightening
yeah,
to go
yeah,
through something like that.
yeah,
And in my own life, I did it all wrong for so long and did not know myself. I couldn't make decisions. That was one of the big things I took from one of your other podcasts recently was how important it is to know ourselves well and how to slow down to make good
yeah,
decisions.
yeah,
And what I noticed in my own life is what I hear people talk about all the time. They say, what should I do? What should I do? What can I do? That's someone who is not in touch with their own sense of what is right for them.
right.
And that is the area where I struggled for so long when I was in a relationship with someone where I couldn't
Yeah,
be real. I didn't know how to be myself. I felt like
yeah,
anything I tried backfired. I felt
yeah,
lost and confused and just constantly frustrated to the point of having a lot of pain in my body. It was really nasty for a long time.
yeah,
And so what
yeah,
I discovered, Jennifer, which I think your listeners are going to love, is that we have a way now to set boundaries with people that actually doesn't take us out of being kind, generous people. Because
mm,
if I can imagine your listeners, we want to be easygoing. We want to get
yeah,
along. We want to cooperate. But then when we're in conflict, we feel like it turns us into someone we're not, or we have to just be invisible and back off. And neither choice is acceptable.
right, Right. I can say for myself, you said something so important on that being invisible and backing off or,
Mm.
not wanting to rock the boat. And a minute ago, you also said something about like not being honest. And I just want to pause on that for a
Yeah.
second because that for me has been a big one because in growing up with abuse in my childhood,
Mm.
I
I'm so
learned from a very
sorry.
early age, you don't rock the boat, you keep everybody
Mm.
happy, you put their needs before yours. And so that all works fine to survive childhood and your teen years and all of that. But then you grow up and you start businesses and you're like, wait a
Um,
second. And you start getting married and then you start getting divorced. And you're like, what
we
the
cannot
hell?
make
Like,
we cannot make
yeah,
good business decisions as a people pleaser.
right. You can't. And even
Mm.
being in a relationship, whether it's business or personal, when you are just saying what you need to say to keep that other person happy. And
Mm.
I did this for years, even though I consider myself to be very honest, I have a lot of integrity.
Mhm.
The deeper I've gone into my own nervous system, it's like, wait a second, I had to really get real with myself because I found myself smoothing it over or not telling somebody like, they're mad and you're like you're not telling them, well that's because you're a dumbass and you shouldn't have done this, and it's just like, but that's going to make them even madder. So
Right,
you just like smooth it over and, oh, it's
right,
not you, it's them, right? You
right.
find yourself saying these things even as a very honest person, and I think that's what I want to really call out is like, look, even though
Perfect.
you're a very very honest person, if you've got some dysregulation going on in your nervous system, your system's going to win every time, and it's going to cause you to say things that maybe aren't like the full truth because you don't feel safe
Right.
enough saying, the actual truth.
Well, if I could introduce one thing today for your listeners that could make a huge difference, one of the best things we can do is instead of thinking that it's our job to correct someone, which
Yeah.
never goes well, right?
Yeah.
Is we want to put everything we need in terms of what we do want, not what we don't want.
Hmm.
And so if we have an employee that is not showing up on time, not doing their share,
Yeah.
not giving their all, we want to really help paint a picture about what it looks like to show
Yeah.
up fully and to be a team player and
Yeah.
commend them for that, not in a coddling kind of way, but in a I believe in you. Let's see you
Hmm.
live into this image that I have of you because I wouldn't have hired you if I didn't know you had a lot to give.
Yeah.
And so we can set people up for success when we talk about what's going to happen at the end of the day when things are going well. And matter of
Okay.
fact, that's how I start my sessions. When I'm working in a high conflict situation, I have the people start with the end in mind. Whether it's
Mm.
when we're finished with this engagement 6 months from now, or when you're walking out of the door 45 minutes from now, how do you want
Hmm.
to feel? What do you want to be most proud of? How do you want to see yourself?
Mm.
How do you want other people to see you? So we really form this idea of what would be awesome. What is our
Yeah.
aspiration? Because once we tap into that, our nervous system starts to feel it.
Oh. All
Uh-huh.
right, Susan. All right, Amy. We
Uh-huh.
gotta walk. We gotta
We
walk
gotta
through
we've
this.
got to
All right.
unpack
Okay.
this.
So you've got somebody on your team, and they're
Hmm.
not showing up.
They're not
And
showing up.
so you're meeting with them, you're having your little daily huddle, right? The first thing you're like, I gotta meet with this person because they're not showing up. So walk me through how does that conversation look like?
I'll give you a mini example from just this morning, literally this morning. I was in a
Yay.
team meeting. Someone
Yep.
was talking about what a mess something was and how awful it was. And I
Mm-hmm.
literally was like, we're going to get this cleaned up today.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of correcting this person for not being more positive, how dare
Yeah.
you be an Eeyore here and
Right.
drag us all down? We started talking about getting it figured out, getting it tidied
Okay.
up, getting it cleaned up. And so we want to use the words that reflect what we do want rather than what we don't want. Yes, energy has a different reaction in our nervous system than no energy.
Mm.
And any boundary we want to set, anything that you would otherwise want to correct in someone, We can
Yeah.
actually put it in terms of the yes, what is it we're looking for?
Okay.
And that lifts everyone up. It's
So
like
the
just
person who's complaining, if they're like, wah, wah, okay, here's the
wah,
Eeyore
wah,
complaining
wah,
about
wah.
this thing. And look, I mean, I'm like, all right, if you're complaining about it, maybe we do have a problem. Maybe we do need to take
Oh
a peek
yeah,
at
it
it,
needs
right?
addressed for
Yeah.
sure.
So are you asking this person, well, what would it look like if it was addressed so that they start thinking in like terms of that? Or are we asking them, that's where I'm getting stuck. Like, how are we actually
I
asking that complainer to flip that?
yeah, actually we're doing it. We're not asking them to, we just do it. I just
Oh,
claim that we're getting it taken care of today. We're
ah, oh
getting
my
this taken
God.
care of right now. In other words,
We're gonna
I'm
get
not
this
having
taken
it.
care of today.
I'm not going down that dark hole of this is awful. I'm declaring, I'm claiming, I'm uplifting by saying, yeah, we're going to take care of this right now. It's going to be done today. So I literally
Oh,
had a mom and dad I was working with. I still do a lot of work with parents who are just at war with one
oh,
another. And this mom
yeah,
was complaining about some things that dad said at an exchange where they literally had an 18-month-old going from one parent's arms to the other. I'm sure you can all picture that.
yeah.
And mom didn't like what he said to her. And I
Hmm.
literally said to her, paint a picture for me of what would be an ideal exchange. What would I see if I were watching you guys and you thought it went really well?
Hmm.
So I didn't correct the dad of what was said, and I didn't correct her for complaining about it. I just asked her to declare what it's going to look like when it's going well. And it creates a completely different vibe in the room.
And was mom able to do that? Because sometimes when you're so embroiled in conflict, like it is, how hard is that to kind of switch gears for a second and then think about, well, what would it look like if it was going really
Yeah.
well?
So first of all, I don't care if it's a little bit hard because I believe people can do hard things. I do hard things every day. You certainly do hard things every day. So first of all, if it's a little struggle, I'm fine with that. And I
Yeah,
will comment right then like, "Oh my gosh, you're working hard at this."
yeah,
Right? Like that's okay with
yeah,
me if it takes a minute. And I'll say, "Go ahead, take your time." Just
yeah,
imagine for a minute, what is this going to look like when it's going well? And she might even make another snarky comment. But
yeah.
I can take that and then say, and what's it going to be like for your baby when mom and
Mm.
dad are both relaxed and just say hi and thank you and goodbye? What's that going
Oh
to be
my
like for your
goodness.
baby? So we
Yeah.
can really talk about the horrible problem of what conflict causes, the anxiety, that real nightmare of I don't know what to do. How am I ever going to get out of this? It's so confusing and it's
Right.
so hard.
Yeah.
We can bring a lot of ease to that when we start to create an emphasis on what it is that we really do want to see come out of it. So
Oh,
you're
this
on
is
a
so good.
sales
And
team.
Amy,
Sales are low.
you're one of my favorite people now officially when you said, well, I don't really care if this is hard for you.
Well, it is. Of course we do hard things.
But
So
think of how much harder the conflict
I
is. Like the
know.
conflict
I
is really hard and you're
know.
talking about like deep intense things and I know listeners like you guys have been in deep intense things and
All the
that
time.
conflict is so hard. So I love that like just starting to think about that outcome and you're not taking the bait with even snarky
Oh
comments
no.
and things
Oh
like that. We're
no.
not taking the bait there. We're just
Yeah.
really redirecting on, well, what would an outcome look like? And what would that mean for your child?
And honestly, Jennifer, we're genuinely opening our hearts and holding space
Yeah.
for a gentle, strong, positive, open outcome. And so
Mm-hmm.
we have to do that work ourselves first.
Mm-hmm.
And when we go in knowing how to breathe, knowing how to pull our shoulders down a little bit,
Yeah.
knowing how to relax, right? We're going to help people co-regulate with us. There our anxiety is contagious and our calm is contagious. And the
Mm.
more we can truly believe that we're good at this, we're good at what
Yeah.
we do. We
Yeah.
can do this. We're going to figure this out Matter of fact, my coffee cup says, "We'll figure it out." I use this all the
Yeah.
time. And it's this idea of having faith in people and believing in people long before they do.
Oh, so
And
good.
it
Why do
helps
you
create a
think?
vibe, helps create a
Yeah.
gorgeous vibe for them.
Oh, I agree. And what do you think, like, what are your thoughts on why people, human beings, get so embroiled in the conflict? I would just love to hear, like,
Yeah.
what do you see?
I can tell you exactly why. And I'm no scientist. I've heard you say it yourself. Our nervous system makes that decision. We
Yeah.
don't want the conflict, but it is scary. So I
Mm-hmm.
rely often on the letters SOS. We think of it as save our ship. It's sense of safety. We have to have a
Mm-hmm.
felt sense of safety in our body if we're going to resist getting
Yeah.
upset, getting engaged in the conflict. So,
Yeah.
our job, just like our nervous system leads everything, our job is to go inward, tap into
Mhm.
our own inner felt sense of safety,
Yeah.
and then we can start to think about what is it we really want here. But
Hmm.
the reason people get into it is because we live in this world of conflict where people are in their heads, which of course we
Yeah.
use our heads. We're smart people. We do
Yeah.
a lot with our intellect, right?
Yeah.
It's just we forget that if we don't have an inner felt sense of safety, it is
Yeah.
not going to go well.
Right.
When we're scared, we have to react.
Yeah.
So our
Makes
job is
sense.
to notice what we do daily, not just in the heat of the moment, but all the time. When you get
Yeah.
into your car and touch the steering wheel, that's a good time for a breath.
Yeah.
When you're, just all the things that you do, when you take a sip of water, that's a good time
Mm.
for a breath. We want to remember all the time to tap into our felt sense of safety so that we
Yeah.
can radiate safety for our
Yeah.
clients, for our spouses, for our children, for our
Yeah.
coworkers. And when
Yeah.
we radiate that safety, then we can resist getting all embroiled in the conflict.
So
Part of
good. So
part of this
good.
team meeting today, I knew it was going to be a little tricky. And true story, I stopped at the grocery and I bought a very small bouquet of daisies and I put them on the
Mhm.
table. You can tell I'm wearing yellow.
Yeah.
I love my yellow. Yellow is my color that says you're okay.
Yeah.
And I put it on the table and my colleagues commented like, "Oh, pretty flowers." And I wanted to say, "Yeah, they're for me." But they were for me to remember that yes, we're
Yeah.
having a hard meeting right now and I'm good. And so literally
Mm.
having those flowers on the table were a perfect example of how I take care of myself so that I can maintain that sense of safety
Yeah.
before I engage in the tough meeting or the tough conversation.
So
So Monica,
good.
you
And
have to,
Amy, you touched on something so important that I think in the later years or the last few years of my life, I'm learning to do so much better, and we coach our
mm,
clients on as well, that you can actually hold two truths at the same time. You can hold, we're going to
absolutely.
have this difficult conversation, and I'm safe and I'm okay. And I know that,
Absolutely.
right, in my earlier years when I was navigating in survival, and you
Mm,
guys who are listening, I'm not talking about like Jennifer was running around like a crazy person, like maybe I was a little bit, but no, driven, successful, working, high
yeah,
functioning, building the business, being a mom, like all the things, right?
all the
That
things.
on the outside, you might not be like, oh yeah, she's running in survival. But on the inside, I was running in survival. And if you'd
Mm,
ask me, are you okay? I'd be like, yeah, I'm fine. I just got a lot of work to do. Get out of my way, But it was really driven from survival. And the only reason I'm mentioning this, everybody who's listening, because if you notice that as you're navigating your day, that you feel rushed or you
mhm.
feel pressured or you feel like, well, this is the only thing I can do. Your choices are narrow and you're just basically trying to get through the day. You're almost certainly navigating in survival mode and not safety. As I've done this work for myself and helped so many of our clients, when you start to create internal safety, it feels completely different in your body. And even when I started relaxing, my body would feel so heavy. And I'm just like, what is this heaviness? Is there something
The,
wrong? No, it's
the
my
weight of the
nervous system
world.
taking a
Yeah.
breath.
Wow.
So even as you start to, like what you said, slow it down, take a
Mhm.
breath, like you will regulate and you will feel very different than when you're just like up out of bed and the rest of the day, you got your hair on
Mhm.
fire and you're going, going, going. So I just share that because like it does feel different, and really pay attention to what Amy is saying here
Um,
about slowing it down, taking a breath, being able to hold multiple truths so that you really can, when you want that felt sense of safety, it truly does need to be felt in your body. You cannot think
mhm.
your way through
Can't
it.
think your way to safety. When I was going through my really dark time, it was about 6 years that I really struggled. I needed a lot of support, just even day to day, because the end of my relationship was a whole identity shift for me. It was
Yeah.
crushing. And the confusion and feeling so lost, just literally not knowing who I was, I could not make a decision. And this idea of relying on myself and trusting myself was so scary. I didn't believe in myself at all back then. And fortunately, that was like 20 years ago. And the idea came to me finally that I had to just try something small. Just claiming one small, honest statement after another got me out of the crisis. And it did take a while and it did take a lot of work and support. And I look back now and think, oh my gosh, decisions are easy now. And so, for the people that are listening that are feeling like decisions are weighing them down and everything through the day is heavy labor, that's a sign that you're simply relying too much on intellect and not enough on the felt sense in your body of what's right for you. It actually should get a little
Yeah.
easier.
It does get
So that's
easier.
how I
And
help folks.
then you're
That's how
like,
you
I
help
can't.
folks. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it does get so much easier. And then you start to navigate through the day of like, there's no way I could go back to that old way. Like, I could
Right.
not go back to how I used to do things at all. And I was joking with
Mhm.
somebody the other day. I'm like, if I completely restarted my entire coaching practice and I had to start from scratch again, and I had to build it on two words, I would build it on slow down. Those would be the two
Mhm.
words I would build everything on because, and when I say slow
Mhm.
down, I'm not talking about be irresponsible, don't get your work done. I'm not talking about
Oh,
any of
no,
that, but like,
no way.
right? But slow down can just be the space of a breath, to
Mhm.
take that breath, feel that felt sense of safety, and then proceed from there. I hear what you say, Amy, and it's so important for everybody to just really pay attention to the state that you are navigating your day to day in.
Mhm. We, I have a little refrigerator magnet that I gave my daughter that says, trust yourself. You know more than you think you do. But
Yeah.
it takes that slowing down to actually notice what you know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we keep trying to reinvent what's right for us. And
Yeah.
it's just a lot of work. So I want all your listeners to really notice where the nightmare is coming from for them that leaves them
Mhm.
feeling frustrated. And I know a lot of the parents that I work with feel so angry and so frustrated. And there's a lot of grief involved when
Mhm.
things aren't going the way you want them to go.
Mhm.
And, to just anyone who's able to tap into that grief, to know that the antidote isn't going to come today, it's going to come little by little with those small steps we take to try on having the courage to trust ourselves and trust that sense of safety inside of ourselves.
Yeah, that's so beautiful because when you do slow down, you practice. I think, right, Amy, like practice having that felt sense of safety maybe before you go into the hard conversation, right?
That's
Bef-
actually critical. So I'm working with a family right now where the mom hasn't seen her daughter for about a year and a half. And
Mhm.
it was just so much drama in the family that the mom literally was like, I need to free up my daughter from this. And the conflict between mom and dad was so high. Mom moved out of state, thought she was going to get to at least see her. That has not happened. And what has happened for this family is the mom, the work she's had to do is to get out of the habit of criticizing dad and blaming dad.
Mhm.
And so what she's learning to do is replace it when she catches herself having a bad thought about him. She's using that as a time to empower herself to
Mhm.
take charge of her own safety. So I believe in 5 times a day check-ins where you
Mhm.
have a little cue that you use that reminds you. It could be every time you refill your coffee. It could be every time that you get up and do get up out of your chair for a few minutes. And we want to use that time to check in. How's my energy? What is my
Yeah.
self-talk like?
Yeah.
What am I saying to myself about this supposed problem or conflict right now?
Yeah.
And take a few minutes on our own to realign with thoughts that actually serve us rather than the thoughts that defeat us. Because we forget not to believe our thoughts. We believe our thoughts
Yeah.
unless we stop and notice the thought and consciously choose, oh yeah, I could do something differently. Oh yeah, I really don't need to curse this other person and
Yeah.
condemn them. I really can just take impeccable care of myself and let them take care of themselves. Stay in my lane. So I'm a big believer that many times a day we want to be checking in, checking our energy, checking our thinking, see how we're feeling in our body, see how our emotions are flowing, and do a reset. Because if we wait till the heat of the moment, we're in fight or flight. We can't
Yeah.
do the work then. It's not possible. We're not
Yeah.
meant to be in chronic conflict. We've got to learn to come off of it and
Mm.
take these breaks in between interactions so that we can regain a sense of safety.
So good. And I think that I notice that when I am safe and regulated, giving myself permission not to respond seems to
Mhm.
be a tool in the toolbox. But when I'm
That's
in
such a good one.
survival, right?
Mhm.
It's just like you're just
Yeah.
go, go,
It's so
go.
fast.
Like, right? It just because it's happening so fast. So I'd love to hear
Mhm.
your thoughts on not responding because in
Oh,
conflict,
yeah.
people say things that are very triggering. And it's
Yeah.
just like, I'd love to hear your thoughts on
Oh,
that.
yeah. I have some favorite thoughts about that. And I have the luxury of, I'm in a position where I get to actually train domestic court judges on conflict and mental health and kind of helping them
Yeah.
when they have an activated client in front of them and they're learning to give messages even to the litigants to slow down. But
Yeah.
there's two things that really need to happen. So when we give ourselves permission not to respond, remember that it's hard to not do something. What we want is to turn to something different instead. So
Mm.
instead of saying, don't respond, don't respond, don't respond, say, breathe, breathe, breathe. Right? So we want to go
Mm.
toward what we do want. Good time for a breath. Your body will respond more calmly to what you can do rather than what you shouldn't do. Again, it's that yes energy versus no energy. So that's one. But I think your listeners are going to love this tip. What we definitely want to do is have a couple of phrases ready, like, let me think about it.
Mm.
That is a response that is not a response. It's a response saying, yeah, I'm not going to say what I'm thinking right now because I need a minute.
Mm.
So saying, oh, I'll think about that is very respectful and gives you a minute to come up with your boundary, to come up with what it is that you really need, instead of saying that thing that makes it look like you're the problem. right?
Right.
So many of the people I work with come to me because they're being painted in a really bad light. No one
Yes.
wants to have their reputation at risk.
Right.
So we've got to do good PR for ourselves and being able to not respond, but still say, oh, I hear what you're saying. You can even say, like, that doesn't land really well with me right now, but give me a minute. So you're
Mm-hmm.
able to say, I'm not going there with you, and still maintain your rapport, still maintain your respect, and still invite being treated in a respectful way.
Yeah. Oh, so good. I know everybody right now is, if they were driving, you're pulled over and you're taking notes right now, which is so great. I love it. I love it. All right,
Lots
Amy,
of
here's
good
here's a
stuff.
tough one. It's probably an
Okay,
easy
good.
one for
Bring it
you.
on.
It's an easy
Bring
one
it
for
on.
you, but for me. So, my husband,
Ooh, it's
he will
already getting
say
good.
this, he will say this thing to me. And when he says this to me, now, I have not murdered him. I just want to be really clear. I have not taken him
No weapons
out.
in the house.
Okay. But like if we're in a conversation and
Yeah.
I'm a direct person. I consider myself a very kind person, but I'm very direct. And he will say, "We really need to be nice to each other." And when he says
Meaning
that, Amy,
you're not being very nice right now.
exactly. And I get so angry
Yeah.
because I'm not being mean, I'm being direct, and this is who I am. Like I'm just like this, dink dink dink.
Mm,
But when somebody says that to me, not somebody, my husband, anybody else in the world who'd said it, it's fine. But somebody in my intimate space, and I'm sure because I did come from an abusive childhood, having a
mm,
man say to me, it feels like very like judging or shaming, like you're not being nice enough right now.
mm.
And I literally will see red and I don't kill him.
Yeah.
But I am just curious, Amy. I would love to
Yeah.
hear what do you do? Breathe, breathe, breathe for sure.
Yeah.
But what do you like? Because it
Mm.
feels like I'm being painted in a bad light, and then it feels like I'm being told, especially as a woman, you need to be nicer because you're not being nice. And I don't know, it just really stirs up those emotions.
I can feel it right now with you. So a couple things. One is you're fun. You like to laugh.
Yes.
You might be able to get away with saying, "Oh, let's run it through the nice filter." Like, you know what I mean? Like, have a little fun with it. You
Yeah.
might. You might. I'm not
Yeah.
saying because
Yeah.
he might really be upset, right? That
Hmm.
might be his way of trying to be kind when maybe he's
Hmm.
mad too, right? So we don't want to
Yeah.
use humor to anger someone, but if the two
Okay.
of you can have a little fun with it. Another
Hmm.
thing, I've got a few here. Another thing is before you say that direct thing,
Hmm.
you can say, okay, get on your nice translator because I mean it nice, but it's probably going to come out
Oh.
direct. Because
Oh,
the
that's
whole
so
nice thing,
good.
that's about
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And so you're sort of asking him, okay, get out your nice translator. In other words, I'm going to be me, but if you need to hear it
Yes.
this other way, get out your translator. Or another thing
Oh.
is just to say flat out, can I take a minute and say what I need to say directly? In other words, you're
Hmm.
acknowledging this is me. I'm
Hmm.
going to be me. I want to be authentic and I'm going to be direct right now. But
Hmm.
you're just framing it with acknowledging that it might not be as soft and sweet as he wants it. And you care
Hmm.
about that, but you're not going
Right.
to sugarcoat it for him.
Yeah.
So you can even just say, may I say what I need to say? And then we can work with it. So
Yeah.
you're being very respectful to acknowledge his needs without undermining or dismissing your own. Yeah.
So good. So good. And
I
everybody
can
who's
think of about
listening who's
five more
like,
ideas, about five more.
right? My
Yeah.
husband says this, my wife says this,
Yeah.
and it sets me
Yeah.
off. You guys all just
Mhm.
heard like three really good ways on how to position it, frame it. Those are all really good ideas, Amy.
Mhm. Well, you're a coach. I'm a coach. We know that every solution has to be organic. So,
Hmm.
yes, I can give you ideas. And at the end of the day, you're going to feel into those and see which one feels like you. Try it out. See how it goes. See how you can talk to yourself while you're
Yeah.
talking to him, and really see how you can be both. I think I'm hearing that you want to be both
Yeah.
yourself and kind of stay in the conversation.
Yeah, because I noticed that when he says we need to be nice, my defenses come up and you end up being like, well, I am being
Mhm.
nice. And now you end up in this like data debate of just nonsense. And
Nonsense.
it just, and
Nonsense.
nobody can win that. Nobody can win that. And
Yeah.
so I think that, and then even the bigger thing here is it would be great if I could say to my husband, don't say that to me, and he would not say it anymore. But like that's him. That's who he is.
Right.
That's who he how he communicates. And so
Right.
we want to change the other person and say, "Hey, you change so I can be happier."
Oh,
But
exactly.
that never works. It never
Never.
works. Yeah, and so
Actually, if
I
it
would
does
just
work,
yeah.
that's a problem too, because then they're just being a people pleaser.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So I know we're almost out of time, but Amy, I would love to
Mm.
hear like any other tip that you
Yeah.
have of like what can we do
Mm.
ourselves even if somebody outside of us is making our lives miserable or making our
Miserable.
lives miserable, right? But what can we
Yeah.
do to kind of, I don't want to say control the situation, but what can we do to feel better about communication or
Yeah.
not resolving some of that conflict even if this other person is like, man, they're making my life hard right now.
You said it, sister. You said the keyword control. We actually, it is, we do want to feel in control. We want to have power and control over our day. That is normal. That is fine. The issue comes when we are playing out patterns and we are not aware of them.
Mhm.
So, for example, before you are talking to your husband, or even while, you can remind yourself, he's a sweetheart.
Mm.
Like maybe that comes into your mind. So the idea is that our needs are valid,
Mhm.
our emotions are valid. Conflict is the result of trying to get something that we want from the back door. We want
Mhm.
to just be really aware of who we are, what we want, what we need, and have the strength to be gentle. It's only when we're losing it, it's only
Mhm.
when we're feeling out of control ourselves that the situation gets out of control. Conflict takes two people. Just because somebody's mad
Yeah.
at you doesn't make it a conflict. You don't have to buy it. So
Mhm.
we can, our awareness can help us be so protected, help us
Mhm.
feel literally armed with calm. We do
Yeah.
not have to let that person under our skin. It just takes a lot of practice to know that what they say and do is about them. I have complete control over what I think, feel, and do. And we think someone's making us mad. Uh-uh-uh. There's a great book in the AA world, You Can't Make Me Angry. It is a wonderful book for everyone to read because it's all
Yeah.
about your reaction is 100% yours. And
Yeah.
if you're that vulnerable, you have work to do if you're letting
Mhm.
someone get under your skin. I also believe in boundaries. So I have a
Yeah.
dear old dad who I love, and I don't spend more than about 15 to 30 minutes with him at a time.
Yeah.
So instead of pushing him away, I call him. I say, hey, I've got 15 minutes. Can I stop by?
Mhm.
And then I stay for 15 minutes and I say, okay, bye. And it's great rather than making myself stay for 2 hours and feeling uncomfortable or tense or pushing him away. So boundaries, awareness, self-talk, self-trust. If we're betraying ourselves, we can't be upset that somebody else is betraying us. So we're going
Yeah,
to take
so
such
true.
good care of
And
ourselves. And it
yeah,
takes
so good.
it's a lot of
And
practice. We're social creatures. We need each other. And so it's
yeah,
very easy to get dependent on someone else's behavior rather than depending on ourselves.
so very true. And this stuff is tough, you guys. Like the first time years and years ago, I'd worked with a trauma therapist and she started helping me with boundaries. And I logically
Mhm.
understood the concept of boundaries. They made sense. I agreed. But when it came to setting a boundary, it was so in opposition to my safety rules in my nervous system of how I had
Right.
survived that it was like, it was literally life or death to set these boundaries. It was
Mhm.
so very hard. And I just share this because if you have trouble setting those boundaries, get some help with it. Like, work with a coach, go get a therapist, go get somebody who can help and help you to
Mhm.
get yourself regulated, to help you move through these things. I have to share one quick thing before we close, and then Amy, I'm going to have you tell everybody where they can find you because you're brilliant and
Sure.
you have so many great things. My teenage daughter, it would be great if she would do the dishes. And so I know I've just learned, like, don't ask her to do the dishes because as soon as she gets asked, you can just see that resistance just
Yeah.
dig in.
Yeah.
And I don't make a battle of it, I really don't. But I stumbled upon this. And so last week, for some reason, I don't know what happened, but I think she was just up really late and she did all the dishes. And I woke up in the morning and I walked into a clean kitchen. And I said to her, I said, thank you so much for doing those dishes. But what I really said was, when you did the dishes without me asking, I felt so seen and so loved and so appreciated. And I just
Oh,
want to tell you, thank you. Thank you for doing that. I woke up, the kitchen was clean. It was so nice, sweetie, and I just really appreciate it. That little stinker has been doing the dishes like crazy. And I was like, ding, what happened? Instead of it being a conflict where she would just resist and dig her heels in or whatever, I just told her how it made me feel when she did them without being asked.
right.
Not guilting her into doing those dishes. Not that it was intentional, it just sort of happened
Right.
this way. And I look back and I realize it's just like, wow, like if you have somebody in your life you love and it's like, oh, I can make them feel loved by doing this, of course I want to do it. So
Well, it's a
I'm just going to share
relationship.
that for all my people with teenagers out there.
Beautiful. You let it really celebrate your relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. And now it's like if she does them, great. If she doesn't, it's fine too. But it was just such a
Mhm.
beautiful thing to watch her then do it more, to get that behavior, because I think she had a deeper understanding of just how much it actually meant to me.
Oh, beautiful. Thank
So
you for sharing
beautiful.
that with us.
Yes.
Oh,
Amy, I would
good.
love, would you please share where can people
Yeah.
find you?
Well, I was so excited to come on here and talk to you. I wanted to put something together that would be exclusive for your people. Yes. So, one thing
Yay.
I have, because I knew we were going to talk about that sense of safety. And so I put
Hmm.
together an emergency rescue kit that is really how you tap into that sense of safety in a short, kind of a little short course on that. And I also put together a little piece on boundaries, and I did it from the orientation for your folks about like what happens if your boundaries aren't working? What might be
Yeah.
wrong? So I did that.
Yeah.
And then maybe some of your listeners are in this co-parenting space that's
Yeah.
not, maybe if that's where their conflict lies. I did include a set of ideas. It's a set of scripts. I don't believe in scripts. What I believe in is a menu, multiple choice to look at so you can start to get a sense of how
Hmm.
you know what's right for you. So it's
Yeah.
this list of ideas of how you can communicate when things are tough. And
Hmm.
then the listeners get to go through it like an activity and really pick the ones that they've got some energy behind. So it's a little bit of activity to help jumpstart maybe some new ideas in their lives. And if they want that, it's set up as a download. I'd love for them to all grab that gift. And then my company is the Center for Family Resolution. So you can always find me there.
Oh, so wonderful. And you guys, we will put all of these links
Yeah.
in the show notes so that you can go grab them in the show notes. And if there's a little resistance and you say, I don't want to learn, just remember, how would it feel great to
Right.
resolve that conflict in your life by just learning a couple of new skills? Wouldn't that feel amazing to resolve that
It's
conflict?
possible.
It's possible.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Amy, for being on the show today. This was the funnest conversation about conflict I think I've ever had.
I really appreciate being here. Thank you for all you're doing.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. So, you guys, look, listen, great, but do something. Take something from today's show and really implement it. Go hop on Amy's website, download her resources, but take some kind of an action to really get a different result in your life. That's it for
Amen.
today's show. Thank you for being here with me, Amy. The only thing left is get out there and have a happy, productive day, y'all. I'll see you in the next show. Bye.
Bye.
If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love to have you join us inside Freedom Builders, my coaching community for entrepreneurs who are ready to slow it on down, do the inner work, and build soul-aligned businesses that are happy, productive. Everything you need is linked below in the description, or you can visit my website at jenniferdawncoaching.com. I hope to see you there.